Hello, I am David.
I'm Russ.
I'm Caroline. And we're Scooch.
We've decided to get together just a bit more often and have a chat and a catch up and share it with you.
And what better way than on our new YouTube channel? Now, I think what you're supposed to do is like and subscribe. So can you please do all those things?
Who knows what's going to come out, guys? But we do know it's most probably going to be more than you needed to know.
Take those lies and let them go. 'Cause your eyes told me more than I needed to know.
So when people think of Scooch, they tend to associate us with Eurovision. So we thought, why not start our first episode with talking all about Eurovision and how all that came about?
Flying a flag. Can you believe 14 years later, we're still singing it, still talking about that song? Russ, how did it come about?
I went to see the Eurovision selection show the year before, which was 2006, and it was the year that Daz Sampson got through. And I think at that point I thought, look, we could do this, we could have a go at this. So I just approached the BBC and said, what do you think of the idea? And they didn't say no, which was good. So I got together with one of our old writing partners, Morton, who worked on some of our old stuff. He did Thank You for Being a Friend with You, David, didn't he? And a few other little bits. We wrote a song, submitted it to the BBC. They said they liked it, but they wanted something with a bit more of an angle, with a bit more of an identity. So we went back to the drawing board, and one of the other guys that was in the studio, he was working on a movie that was based around planes, so an animated movie, a bit like Cars, I think. We had a light bulb moment and thought that could be amazing. So we set about writing a song that sort of encompassed the whole flight, but in like 3 minutes. But initially we did a demo. We called Natalie, remember? And we did a sort of minute version.
I think we got in the ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Yeah.
That was in there, was the hook.
Were we told we'd be in the selection show then? I don't think we were.
Never.
I remember us getting calls from you, Russ, saying, we're down to the last X, and then another one, we're down to the last, and then suddenly I remember getting a call at a cash machine on the Strand in London going, we're in the selection show. I was like, eh?
And you literally said, can you come to London and record your vocals? And I said, yes. And then he said, you have to come like this weekend. The BBC needed by Monday the finished song. And I don't know about anybody else, but
we'd never heard it.
I'm thinking, what am I about to do?
I was in Manchester doing the producers with Peter Kay, and got the train down to Fulham. I think we were in a recording studio in Fulham, and I expected to have all this like song that I'd never heard of, and it was all the talky bits. It was all like, can you read this, please? And then I got poked with a stick, going, be sexier, be more seductive, be more.
It was Russ and Morton. You just kept like pushing me to be more calm. That's the only way I can describe it, to say it a bit more suggestive. But I remember about an hour just saying lines over and over and over again, but thinking, when am I actually going to sing? And then I did the ba-ba-ba bit of the chorus, and then I was like, right, see you later, I've got to go home. We've never recorded like that before, ever, have we? It's always, Natalie does the lead vocal usually, or Caroline for sure, and then we go in and kind of harmonise with it, don't we? That's the way that we've always worked.
Yeah.
But I think the whole camp thing, who would have thought the campus member of the band is actually Russ?
Yes.
Yes, I think you're right there, Dave. I think you're right, yeah.
I'll never forget Valentine's being the day that you ran up and said, right, got something to tell you, we're going to be doing Eurovision, the selection.
I was in Dubai.
Where?
How glamorous I am. Yes, with an ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember it really, really well. Not just the fact that it was Valentine's Day, but it was a bit of a sort of bittersweet day for me, because that morning before you called us, Russ, to say that we'd got onto, the selection show, I'd actually had a miscarriage that morning. So it was, it was bizarre. And really, when I think back, had I have been pregnant and not miscarried, we wouldn't have done Eurovision, would we?
How pregnant would you have been by the time we would have done it?
5.5 months.
Because that photo shoot, I remember you came down and you didn't look like you.
I had to actually discharge myself from hospital the night before that photo shoot. The call time for that photo shoot was, what, like 6 a.m. or something ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, we drove really early in the morning, and I just remember being like... So when I look back at that photo, that's what I think about straight away, the fact that I just like had this miscarriage. So I was sort of, I don't know, my body sort of felt like I was still pregnant, I guess, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah.
Mental.
Since we've been looking after ourselves, so to speak, Russ has always been our like management, hasn't he? So if Russ gets in touch and says something, you just kind of trust that it's going to be an okay deal.
How wrong we were.
But yeah, you know, it's like anything. When your good friend rings it up and says, "I need you to be there," you know, you do whatever you can to be there. And yeah, we've probably got an awful lot to thank him for, because it is. If it wasn't for this guy, you know, we wouldn't have had that chance. And what a chance it was.
And obviously now every May we get wheeled out to do, you know, great little spots on whatever program. It's fab. Every May.
It is great. It is. It's like having a Christmas song, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We're like Cliff at Christmas. It's just
that is exactly what it's like. But that's, you know, thanks to you, Russ, for you know, writing such a brilliant song that's so memorable. You know, because let's face it,
not everyone agrees with that. You know.
No, memorable. They might not like
memorable,
it,
yes.
but they can't deny it's not memorable.
It is amazing to be able to get back together and chat every year, isn't it? And I think we're really lucky in that respect, because it was 14 years ago, and you know, there are, you know, obviously there's been some great people that have represented the UK, but I think that, you know, we're lucky enough to be remembered, and people want to talk to us, you know.
Forget the morning in London when we all got together, and the artists who were selected to represent the UK for the Viewer's Choice, Making Your Mind Up. You know, the people who were there, I kind of felt like a little fish in a big ocean, with all these bigger pop stars, it seemed like, and then they wheeled Justin Hawkins from the Darklist in last minute, and I don't think anybody knew that he was going to be involved. You almost thought as if they've just picked him. He's going to be doing this show, and we're just there to make up the numbers. But for us, it was the beginning of a journey, wasn't it? Because we had to start with choreography and styling and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. And as you guys know, I was super excited about learning choreography, because that's my bag. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. Paul Demain did our choreography. He was a massive choreographer specifically for the BBC. I remember getting together in a studio with him and just doing the first few moves and going, yes, that's perfect. Because I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, for instance, When My Baby, our choreography, you could say, was slightly more energetic. we were younger, weren't we? I remember it was like, you know, a move for every count of the song, whereas Flying the Flag was probably more engineered for people, you know, aging pop stars. And we were so lucky we got the costume designer from Strictly. They were all just so brilliant and good quality, and everything was just, you know, it was amazing. But it was strange to see the other artists, because they were all kind of similar, and we were like this weird four blue people in the corner, you know, with props and all this stuff.
The station of Flying the Flag was very theatrical in comparison to the other acts, and I think because we all love that element of performing as well, we very much wanted to give it a go. And
I think the team behind us had just as much fun as we did, going, oh, maybe we'll do that, and then we'll give, you know, we had fake bottles of champagne on the trolleys, or like, can you give us more stuff to get wrong?
But I remember Brian Harvey literally going like, what is this all about? Why have they got all this stuff? What, you know, and you can imagine, can't you? If I suppose you put one of the other acts and these guys turn up with all these crazy costumes, props and all that, you go, what's going on here?
You know, I'm sorry, Brian, there's no way he's a fan of flipping Eurovision.
After that happened to us, you know, it really made me think anything is possible. Because, I mean, let's face it, not in a million years did any of us think that could happen. No. You know,
But Flying the Flag was a different writing style. It had the Scooch sound, and we were very passionate about that. And with Russ steaming that ship, you know, it was always going to have our sound and our kind of format.
Flying that plane, it wasn't a ship.
Yes. Corrected. But what it did, it almost put us into that tongue-in-cheek thing, which I think is very British. You know, we've just had Eurovision, haven't we? And I was watching an Insta story of a TV show that we've just done this morning, and my friend Clay laughed at the something to suck on for landing bit. Like, still, she knows that bit, she's heard it so many times, and she still laughs at it. And I think the fact that it made people smile was such a big element. And I'll never forget, like, seeing it. We were in a dance studio and they brought in those zip bags, those blue cabin crew outfits, and I got very excited. But I never wore electric blue on stage, and you know, we didn't know at the time, but the look was very, very iconic, and it is, as Caroline says, memorable or unforgettable. What about, I mean, everyone knows about the big Terry Wogan, Fern Cotton, Cindy Scooch thing. You know, we've talked about that so much. But what about when we actually found out that we had won and we are the UK entry act for 2007? What did you think?
I don't think, for me, it really sunk in until we were actually going. Okay, we've just been selected to represent the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest. You know, none of us would know what that was going to be like.
We probably hadn't really thought any further than winning the selection show, had we? That's what that was all we were concentrating on.
I was in the middle of a contract at the time, and it was very stressful getting time off, and they were really kind to let me, you know, take the odd day to go down to London. But straight away when they said Cindy and I clapped, I was like, okay, no more asking the producer if I can have time off. It was always a bit of a sigh of relief. And then when we found out, it was like, you know, having to have that conversation and all the, you know, stress that would come about. But actually, you know, you'd never change it, would you? It was just such an amazing experience. And look at us now.
Can you imagine if you'd have been told, sorry, no, you can't do it?
Well, they did initially. They said no. When I asked for the week of Helsinki off, they said no. And then someone said, why don't you just get out of the contract? And you can't, because obviously you sign a contract and there's penalties or whatever. You know, they very kindly allowed me to go for the week. But yeah, it was a bit touching cloth.
At that time, like, it was a big deal, and the press and the promo stuff that we had to do.
We literally did a press trail, didn't we? I mean, I think it was because it was like front page news, that cock up with Terry on the, you know, when he announced the wrong winner. And I think from that, everyone wanted to talk to us. Richard and Judy, it was Graham Norton, it was Loose Women, it was This Morning. And I don't think, probably if it hadn't been for that, people wouldn't have been so interested to talk to us.
Sorry, I've just remembered something and it made me cringe like nothing else. Natalie, do you remember we did Nuts magazine, the Eurovision Song Contest?
Yes.
No.
What?
They don't remind me.
In our underwear for Nuts magazine, you fool. Of course you remember that.
I thought that was for another magazine.
Oh my God, it was Zoo.
Yeah.
Zoo.
Was it?
Same vibe.
I totally remember that. I felt so uncomfortable. I mean, oh
you
my God.
looked incredible. To be fair, in one of the pictures, I don't think in our previous outing as Scooch in the 90s, we didn't really know much about Photoshop. In fact, I don't think anyone ever photoshopped our faces, which was a shame. But when they photoshopped our obviously faces and bodies for that magazine, in one of the pictures I look like another person. I mean, I don't know what they've done with my face. And also, like, I was standing like this, and my, you know, like armpits, they kind of paper. We had literally like a smooth, seamless art. It was bizarre.
It was weird. Like at that time, it was like, that is what like pop stars did, didn't they? Well, they did like things like Zoo and it was the time of reality. You'd have all like the Big Brother people, and it just doesn't exist anymore, does it?
That wasn't something that we as Scooch would ever have had. We would never have done that.
No.
But also, no one wanted us to take our clothes off.
We never got asked to get our bums out for that.
Me and Caroline did. Do you remember we did a photo shoot
For
for
Sky magazine? I think there was only
yeah.
And
it was like, we stripped down to our underwear, didn't we?
And
That was
there was a
weird.
shot of you wearing boxers and me opening the boxers, pulling a pair of socks out. What
Yes.
insanity! And I remember the interview. We'd never been. Obviously, we were squeaky clean, and you know, there was times when none of us were allowed to say, "Oh, I had a boyfriend," or "David, you had a boyfriend," or whatever. We had to just be like generic, single young people. And remember the interview for that? They wanted us to talk about like sex stuff, and we explained. They said, didn't they say something like, "What's felching"?
I think you said that.
What that was.
No, you brought up felching.
Caroline,
Why would I do that?
What is felching?
I don't know. You're probably
You know what
nervous.
felching is, David, you dirty bugger.
Caroline, there's a picture of you in Helsinki almost doing a felch with a statue.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know what a felch is. What is it? I've forgotten. That was a long time ago. I want to know. Tell us after.
Rose, if Caroline doesn't mind, I'll show you.
No, I don't mind. Go for it. Good God. People at home.
My brother. Not one, my brother. This has gone very smutty, hasn't it? Have you got any regrets about the promo stuff? Because I always wish that we'd done a tour. You know, we'd got to go to the other countries and say hello and that kind of thing. But I loved the fact that we met Tony Blair. I loved pushing the national lottery button. So
and that was with Michael Ball, wasn't it? A previous UK entrant. So yeah, that was great fun.
God, we've done quite a lot.
Do you remember any fallouts?
I remember at MTV, me and Natalie having a big argument. I can't remember what it was about. Probably one of us was being a penis. But I do remember like storming out or something. I can't remember.
I do vaguely remember that. But if you think about how long we've been together, I mean, we're genuinely nice people. That's probably why we haven't had fallouts. I mean,
yeah, I know.
There's egos left, right, and centre, but there are none here, which is the reason, I think, the sole reason why we're still together and why we can just chat and we're buddies.
What are your memories of when we actually arrived in Helsinki, what that week was about, all the things we got up to before? I mean, I can remember arriving in arrivals at the airport, and it was literally insane. It was like Madonna had got off the plane and the paparazzi were there. And I think at that point we were like, oh, okay, this is something on another level now.
Well, I remember looking around going, who are they here for? It was so weird. It was bizarre. From us having our faces on billboards in the city centre, faces on stamps, everywhere we went. Obviously, we were very recognisable with our costumes. And we did have a second set, didn't we, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Make the boys wink.
Yes. I look like Mr. Blobby.
What I do remember is, fans coming over from the UK to support us, dressed as us. That was bizarre.
It's almost like a hen do, isn't it? They want to like dress up. They want to do everything, they possibly can to soak up the experience. And we gave them that in our identity.
Even this year, like I see on Instagram and stuff, people have dressed up as us, and it's amazing. It's so cool.
I remember being like grabbed by a massive group of like these insane drag queens that were fully dressed up as Natalie and I, and in the middle, kind of like going, oh, it's just mental. It's mental. Amazing.
Well, as one of the big five, we had to host a party, didn't we? Yeah. And I remember being told that we had to perform.
I do remember doing like an acoustic version, which I didn't think would work, because it's so far from, the original.
Candlelight.
The rehearsals were mad because wasn't it? It was like 2 days, wasn't it, where you did all of the sound rehearsals, the camera rehearsals, then we went to the room, we watched the VT. They changed the graphics from the Eurovision, from the British flag to planes in red, white and blue, so it didn't offend anyone.
I remember thinking I wished we had a bit more time to rehearse on stage with the props, with the in-ears. I only remember rehearsing with the full kit and everything being as it should be twice.
Yeah, me too.
And it was kind of, you're on, that's it, you're off, the end.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't time to kind of go, oh, well, yeah, well, we couldn't hear that well. And so, you know, what I really remember on the actual real performance is that, you know, I had one of the in-ears out because I thought I'd be able to hear a bit better. But from rehearsal to the actual performance, the crowd suddenly was so much louder that all I could hear in one ear was like screams, whistling, you know, so literally nothing other than the crowd. And in the other ear, I was really, really struggling to hear like the music. So, you know, when I look back now, I get a little bit frustrated because I know I was over singing because I couldn't hear myself. You talked earlier about regrets. I just wish that we'd have had a chance to maybe rehearse, you know, another time, like with the crowd going crazy.
Crowd, can you just come in? Ignore it though, ignore the performance, just come in and scream and then go out again. Yeah.
Natalie, I always think, I mean, you just shared there, but I always think how big a deal it must have been for you to carry a kind of weight of that lead vocal.
Yeah, I think I do remember having to really try and like build up my stamina so that I could try and sing well, controlling my voice whilst doing all these, you know, crazy moves. And that's really, really hard, even though I'd had loads of experience, you know, in the West End, you know, doing exactly the same thing. There's just so much pressure. When you're in a West End show, you're doing 8 shows a week for 12-month contract, you know, you get so used to it. But when you have one chance, 3 minutes, 200 million people watching, you know, that is immense pressure.
Do you remember when we got that front page headline?
Yeah.
Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
We had to go on this morning and prove that we could sing. That kind of thing. In the 90s, we would never have sang our singles live. You know,
no one did.
It was the part when we did that acoustic version of Flying the Flag. Like, you could hear people thinking, they can actually sing, and you think, come on, man, it's a competition. Of course, we've got to be able to do it. It's nuts. Who was your winner?
I thought it was going to be Ukraine. I mean, they came second, didn't they? But I wasn't expecting Serbia to win.
Like Ukraine, Verka Suduka, who came second, he was on directly before us.
Yeah.
And the crowd literally went crazy when he was on. So we had a bit of an uphill struggle going on directly after him. But I thought, he's got it in the bag. Belarus, I remember the guy from Belarus, being a bit of slip character.
Yeah. He bought us a cake. I remember.
Oh, he did, yeah.
He brought a cake. I remember looking at the cake. It was him on a motorbike or something. I don't know if I ate it. Maybe I didn't share it. I was probably sitting at the toilet. Not giving it to the other 3. I didn't feel like Verka Serdushka was going to win. Like, I remember thinking, if they think we're bad, like, what are they dressed as? It was like, so, and he was so silent. I remember he was in front of us when we were, you know, in the lineup to go on for our bit. He was there. He was very quiet, just stayed. The woman, he's backing singer with the dark hair, she just kept going, like, pounding at me and giving me the eye. I think you're barking up the wrong tree here, darling. And then when the points came through and they weren't winning, Verka Serdushka was slapping her legs, and he kept really hitting her legs as if to say, stop crying, kind of thing. It was a bizarre moment. I remember you two, Russ and Caroline, just getting drunk.
I mean, we definitely had a few shandies by that point. But it was, to get 12 points from someone was insane. And I've been a fan of Malta ever since.
What do you remember being like after Eurovision? Because the top 5 single was an awesome kind of finale.
I mean, we're all still proud of that to this day, aren't we? That you know, our song has been the highest charting Eurovision song since Katrina and the Waves. So literally, you know, a lot of the times, unfortunately, the songs don't even chart anymore, you know. So to have a top 5 single, it was insane. It wasn't like sad that we didn't do well in Eurovision. We've had a hit single. That was amazing.
I remember coming back on the plane with you I was supposed to be sat in another seat, I think, and I changed it so I could just end the experience with you guys. Didn't they do a shout out to us or something?
I think so, yeah.
Didn't we get told off for not taking the blow into the mouthpiece seriously? We were like giggling and they said, can we have some calm or something? We're like,
Should we do some quick questions?
yeah.
What's your favourite UK entry since 2007?
Man Zermalov, Heroes. It was the first time for me that visually I was floored by something on Eurovision. And I think that was almost like the beginning of a new era in technology. Thank you.
This year, Iceland. I just really, really liked it. It was just so kind of weird, but good.
Actually, I would have chosen Iceland last year. The song that they were meant to do, I love that. Think About Things, wasn't it? Yeah.
Aren't we good at quick fire questions? David,
Sorry, yeah.
who's your favourite?
Us, and it always will be. Have you ever thought about coming to Australia? Yes, next year.
Yes, please.
Yes, definitely.
What is your all-time favourite Eurovision winner?
It's got to be Bucks Fizz. We were meant to be the fizz of the noughties, and I think, you know, David, you had Bucks Fizz on your bottle, didn't you?
I'm going to say ABBA, Waterloo.
Me too.
If you could duet with any Eurovision act, winner or not, who would it be? I'm going to say Dana International.
I'm going to say Dana.
I'm going to say Conchita.
I'm going to say ABBA again.
I'm going to say Verka Suduka for the banter.
If you could cover a winning Eurovision song, which would it be?
Not Italy from this year.
Euphoria.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Gloria would be good. Yeah.
Like Rise Like the Phoenix, like a big anthem, because we haven't got one of those, really, have we, in our collection of music?
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Do you have any rituals in the dressing room or before performance?
Nice hot drink.
Vodka. Me and Caroline would have a vodka before, yeah, but definitely not a Eurovision. We did not have any drinks before that performance, but generally we'd have a little live there, wouldn't we? Yeah.
Did you have any other songs lined up as well as Flying the Flag?
Well, yeah, so we recorded one song first, but again, that was more like a classic sort of scoop pop track.
Someone else is
loving you. Yeah.
If you could do it again, how would you do it?
I think we'd have to do something poppy, because I mean, that's us, isn't it? I don't think, you know, when you think of other genres, I'm not sure what else we would fit into.
We'll wait for the phone call then.
And this has been More Than You Needed to Know.
Take those lies and let them go. 'Cause your eyes told me more than I needed to know.
This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you aboard this Eurovision flight. The duration will be 3 minutes exactly. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy.
And tonight, I can reveal the act that will represent the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Just speak the lyrics of the first. Would you like something to suck on for landing, sir? Which is there'll be you and Julie's dress.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course you have to bring that.
Please take it away, Scooch.
Good luck, everyone! Berlin, all the way from Paris to Dublin, Helsinki on to Prague.